With me today are Rachel Byar here and two representatives of the Nebraska Council on Economic Education. Roger Butters on my left is the president of the council, and Jennifer Davidson is the director of programs and community development. As the chief financial officer of the state and as a parent and grandparent, I firmly believe that we must emphasize and promote financial literacy for young Nebraskans. That education will help them make good decisions about their personal finances and will help them reach their goals and achieve their dreams. Since taking office more than 2 years ago, I have looked for ways to encourage our high school students to become more financially literate. At the same time, I've been looking for new ways to promote our great state-sponsored 529 plan known as the Nebraska Educational Savings Trust, or NES. These two efforts are coming together today with our announcement here. My interest in helping young Nebraskans become more knowledgeable about personal finances is shared by many others at the state and local levels. I applaud the Nebraska Department of Education for recognizing the importance of financial literacy by including financial literacy education requirements in the new social studies standards for Nebraska schools. I told the sophomores at Bryan High School in Omaha last week that one way to understand the importance of financial literacy and financial education is to look at what happens when people don't make wise financial decisions. In the early 2000s, many people borrowed money to buy homes, but they didn't do their homework, and in the end, they didn't have the money to make their monthly payments. As a result, many lost their homes, and the resulting national housing market collapse nearly ruined the financial system of the United States. Other examples are defaults on student loans, rising credit card debt among young people, and family discord from arguments over family finances. We know that taking on financial obligations beyond one's ability to pay, whether for a house loan, a student loan, or a car loan, will affect a young person's quality of life in the short term and his or her ability to save for the future in the long term. My parents lived through the Great Depression, so when I was growing up in Decatur, Nebraska, they emphasized the need to be careful handling money. Later, my education at Harvard Business School provided me with the opportunity to gain some very solid understanding of budgeting and finance. As Nebraska State Treasurer, I use that knowledge every day in addressing the important financial matters that come before me. Given that perspective, it has become clear to me that we need to do all we can to promote financial literacy among young Nebraskans, and that is why we're here today. The Personal Finance Challenge is a statewide competition sponsored annually by the Nebraska Council on Economic Education, and it's a great way to promote education on economics and personal finance in the high schools throughout our state. About 3,200 Nebraska high school students, guided by about 200 teachers, currently take part in the financial challenge each year. The top team from Nebraska goes on to the national competition in St. Louis. In order to encourage increased participation in this contest by Nebraska students and to increase student interest in personal finance, I'm announcing today that the Nebraska Educational Savings Trust, which is administered by the Nebraska State Treasurer's Office, will contribute a total of $14,000 in prizes to the Personal Finance Challenge team winners in 2013. The prizes will come in the form of contributions to NEST college savings plans. Each of the 4 members of the first place team in the Personal Finance Challenge will receive a $2,000 contribution to a NEST college savings plan. Each of the 4 members of the second place team will receive a $1,000 college savings plan contribution, and each of the 4 members of the third place team will receive a $500 college savings plan contribution. It is also my hope that these NEST scholarship prizes will increase awareness of parents and grandparents of Nebraska's college savings plan and how that plan can help them prepare their children and their grandchildren's higher education. At NEST, we encourage children to dream for their future and parents to save for those dreams. Providing prize scholarships for the Personal Finance Challenge is the first in a series of initiatives to promote financial literacy that I will be announcing this year. Other measures will be announced I'm pleased to announce these significant prizes and look forward to meeting the winners following the state competition in April. Roger Butters and Jennifer Davidson will now tell you more about the Nebraska Council on Economic Education and the Personal Finance Challenge Team Competition. And I'll be available for any questions you might have after they've concluded their remarks. Thank you very much. Roger?
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Roger Butters, and I'm the president of the Nebraska Council on Economic Education. And it's my absolute pleasure to stand here with the treasurer of this great state of Nebraska and thank him and his office for his extraordinary contribution to personal finance education here in Nebraska. Of the many things our children will learn as they go through their elementary, middle, and high school educations, the one thing they will use every day is their knowledge of economics and personal finance. Whether it be the jobs they choose, how they choose to spend the money they earn at those jobs, or even how they behave as citizens in our democratic republic. Truly, economic and financial literacy education is the keystone to a strong and bright future for the students of Nebraska, and therefore the keystone to a strong and bright future for the state of Nebraska. With this generous donation of prize money for the Personal Finance Challenge, the Nebraska Council is going to be able to expand this program dramatically throughout the state and include more students and more teachers and improve more lives long-term as students are better able to manage their resources. The Nebraska Council has a proud heritage here in Nebraska. We're celebrating our 50th year. For 50 years, the Council has dedicated itself to the teachers and students of Nebraska, and we've found extraordinary partners in every sector of Nebraska's life, whether that be the public sector, the private sector, the educational sector, and whether that be primary education, secondary, or advanced education in our college networks. Again, it's my pleasure to be here. It's my pleasure to announce these programs. Thank you again to the treasurer and his office. And for a description of this fantastic program, I'd like to give the podium to our Director of Programs, Jennifer Davidson. Jennifer.
Thank you, Roger. Thank you. I am Jennifer Davidson. I'm the Director of Programs and Community Development for the Nebraska Council on Economic Education. And I do just want to give you a little bit of background on the Personal Finance Competition. It has been in existence for 5 years. And this year, thanks to support from the Treasurer's Office and in conjunction with our 50th anniversary, we're going to greatly expand the program. The Finance Challenge begins as an online competition for high school students across the state of Nebraska. Students compete in teams of 3 to 4 for a chance to win prize money and a shot at the regional competition. The top 5 scoring teams in each region, Lincoln, Omaha, and Western Nebraska, will be invited to compete in a face-to-face regional competition on April 20th. The 3 regional competitions will occur simultaneously. At the regional competitions, students will be given a fictitious family scenario and 2 hours laptop internet connection to come up with a financial plan for their family. They will then present a PowerPoint to a panel of judges who will then rank first, second, and third place winners. These regional winners will then vie for the NEST scholarship prizes that the treasurer described, $2,000, $1,000, and $500 prizes. We're so very thankful, and I just want to invite all the teachers, public school, private school, homeschool students to compete in the competition, and for complete details you can visit www.financechallenge.org. Thank you again, Treasurer.
Jennifer? No questions Nikki has for any one of us?
Where do you think financial literacy stands with you? I mean, can you give us any kind of idea of where our youth are on handling finances?
There is a national test the students take. Roger can describe it.
You know, actually, the students here in Nebraska are actually doing a very good job. We have an extraordinary educational system here in Nebraska led by the Department of Education. And as our results, our students have been and will continue to be receiving an excellent education in financial literacy education. The passage of the new social studies standards by the Department of Education is absolutely essential to this ongoing process. And quite frankly, we can look around ourselves here in Nebraska to see that financial literacy is just a part of our DNA as a community. Home foreclosures, Nebraska one of the lowest in the state. Personal bankruptcy, Nebraska one of the lowest in the nation. And you can just see it in our culture, and you can see it in how we live our lives. that personal finance truly is just kind of a cornerstone of what it is to be Nebraskan.
What's the major financial thing that youth need to know? If you're talking to some youth, what do they need to grasp about finances?
You know, I think the single most important thing for students to grasp is the single simplest and the hardest. Don't buy things you can't afford. And, you know, that's as much a classroom thing as it is a cultural thing. And that's where, you know, teachers in the classroom can talk about budgeting, credit scores, appropriate purchases, wants versus needs. But this is also a conversation that should occur around dinner tables. And by example from parents, showing children the way to financial stability by budgeting, by appropriately financing their expenditures. And at the end of the day, don't buy what you can't afford.
Don, where will the money come from? You said that this educational trust fund, where does that fund come from?
Yeah, good question.
Is this a yearly thing that you're going to do?
Well, I hope that we'll be able to continue. Yeah, we'll see how it works out this year, and hopefully we'll be able to continue. But yeah, the college the Nebraska Educational Savings Trust charges a small percentage fee for the management of those assets. And several $100,000 of that is paid over to the Nebraska Investment Council for oversight of the investments in the college savings plan. A significant part of it goes to First National Bank and a company called You Promise that handle all the paperwork and some of the investment, the day-to-day matters. And there's a small amount left over after that for promotion of the plan to make sure that Nebraskans are aware that we have a college savings plan, what the benefits are, and some of that money can be used to provide scholarships. We have some other scholarship contests as well, some of which have been going on for a long time. Contest that's been going on 7 or 8 years for 7th and 8th graders, writing about why I want to go to college. More recently, 2 years ago, we started a scholarship program for an essay contest for farm youths on how their background on the farm relates to their desire to go to college. So this isn't the first one of these we've done. I think this is the first one we've done that really keys on financial literacy. Which is an area I want to focus more on as part of my public service as state treasurer.
And how have the teams done, Nebraska teams done in these national competitions last 5 years?
Sure. Last year we placed 7th in the nation, and the year before that we ranked 13th after the national competition. So we're very proud of that fact. We're looking to increase that and see what we can do this year.
Good question.
Except, I'm trying to understand the trust. Is that it's a savings? Is the Nebraska savings, the nest, is that a savings plan? I mean,
Yeah.
how does that work?
Yeah. Let me do a little background on Nebraska College Savings Plan. Almost every state, not quite all, but most states have a college savings plan. They're called 529 plans because under Section 529 of the Internal Revenue Code, earnings on those investments are not subject to federal income tax. Under our current state law, earnings on the plan are not subject to state income tax, and you can get up to a $5,000 tax deduction from your Nebraska taxable income for contributions to the Nebraska College Savings Plan. The College Savings Plan in Nebraska was created by the legislature in the year 2000. We currently have over 56,000 Nebraska accounts. And because we have a nationally recognized plan, we have over 145,000 non-Nebraskans who are participating in our plan. And currently the plan has about $2.8 billion in it that is invested. And a parent, grandparent, aunt, or uncle can set up an account either by going to our website, treasurer.org, calling the treasurer's office, or going to the website nest529.com. The forms are there, and it's pretty simple process to do. So that's kind of an overview of our Nest 529.
do you think that this little bit of sweetener might get more people interested in?
Well, that's,
in
that, I mean, I'll let the other folks address that too, but that's certainly my hope. You know, it's one of those things that you would hope the competition would just the competition itself would draw some interest, and I think they have been pretty successful so far. But there's nothing like the opportunity to win a couple $1,000 for being the best team in the state to encourage competition, and that's really what the focus of these scholarships is, to encourage competition, which in turn will get more students involved in financial education, financial literacy.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with you. These are pretty big prizes. This is a nice incentive for students to study a little bit harder to earn one of those top spots. So we definitely are hopeful that the numbers will increase.
Well, you know, this is one of those areas where the members of the media can really be of service to the people of Nebraska. You know, people can't compete in a competition or learn something that they haven't been informed of. So if we can have great partners such as yourself in the media, let it be known to teachers and students throughout the state that there are these opportunities. Then when they're aware of them and they see the potential for what they can do by learning a little financial literacy, you know, they'll come and they'll participate. Of course, you know, we all know what goes on at every football game that occurs in Nebraska, and everybody's involved in football. If we had the same type of enthusiasm and coverage for the benefits of financial literacy, you know, who knows what we could achieve here in this great state of ours.
They don't get $2,000 for football games. At least, I hope not.
That's a good point.
I was going to say, it's part of the financial literacy, having them pick careers that are more profitable than journalism.
Well, you know, I say that somewhat lightheartedly. You know,
I've been in this.
one thing that we are seeing on a little more serious note is, I mentioned it very briefly, and again, not necessarily so much in Nebraska, but across the country, we're seeing young people get out of college or graduate school with huge student debts, and really part of financial literacy needs to, at that level, really needs to focus on, okay, what am I training? What kind of job am I training for? What does it pay? And so what level of debt can I afford to do when this is the level of pay I can expect when I get out of school and hopefully get a job? And I think the fact that we're having so many student loan delinquencies across the country now shows that, you know, that a lot of young people haven't, or their parents or both, haven't thought through that process, and that you know, instead of borrowing the money, you may need to work during the day and go to school at night, as a lot of folks more. I think that used to be more common than it is now, but I think we'll see more going back to it. Maybe you need to spend the first couple of years at a community college. It's less expensive. You live at home and then finish your education somewhere else. So that's another part of where hopefully financial literacy at the high school level here will carry over, so that when kids are making their college decisions, they'll think about what kind of money can I make when I get out, and what kind of debt can I afford to take on to get my degree. Well, thank you all for coming, and let me just close by emphasizing what Roger said here, kind of toward the end. In order to be successful, people have to know about this, and that's where the media can be really helpful. You know, we're not looking for publicity, or Roger, or Jennifer, or me, but people. We would hope that high school students and teachers across the state will be aware of these prizes that are available and encourage competitions. We hope you'll help state work. Thank you very much.